What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down the 7-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel, giving you guys the top plays to get you winning some money in that green cash line tonight. As always, don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night, fan favorite segment on the channel. Last night, unfortunately, Kyle Kuzma got ruled out right before the game, so our lock of the night didn't end up playing. Not a time traveler, can't predict that, unfortunately. If I was, I'd be coming in first every night, but stay tuned to the end of the night or the end of the video for that. And if you do enjoy the content, it would be greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, go ahead and check them out. I've been doing daily content on the channel where you can win money on picking the over and under on things like players, points, assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made, etc. Use that promo code KJK DFS to receive an instant max deposit up to $100 when you deposit today. Again, that is code KJK DFS. Capitalize on that free money. Start winning some money over there on PrizePicks, guys. And lastly, if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I would highly recommend my NBA DFS premium package. You can head over here to patreon.com/KJK_DFS. Link below in the description. I do offer a DraftKings FanDuel package, a PrizePicks package. I will be offering MLB packages, and I am rolling out an MLB DFS masterclass. If you're getting very serious about MLB DFS and you would like to learn all the principles that I use, that's won me tens of thousands of dollars over the last 5 years, over $100,000 last year. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Let's go game by game here. We're going to talk about DraftKings first, and then we'll reflect on it on FanDuel, as always, with some pricing discrepancies and all that fun stuff. So we have the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Atlanta Hawks. First game on the slate. It comes in with a 231.5 over under. It's a 4-point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. So expected to stay close, expected to be up pace. The biggest piece of news that we're waiting on in this one is Trae Young. He is indeed listed as questionable in this one. If he is out, it's a big piece of news, obviously, because then DeLon Wright, Bogdanovich, Lou Williams all going to get a bump up. Bogdan would certainly be the one that I'd be looking to the most, and also Kevin Huerter. The guys that are going to play lots of minutes, that are going to get lots of usage. Kevin Huerter, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter would be the first three that I'm really looking to lock in on. And then, of course, DeLon Wright, like I just mentioned, becomes a direct beneficiary of there being no Trae Young. Last time, 32 minutes, 44 DraftKings points. He would become a phenomenal play as well. So keep your eyes on that Trae Young news. That's obviously big. And then running it back on the other side, Devontae Graham's listed as questionable. If he is indeed out, there could be some more minutes to go around for some other New Orleans Pelicans guys. But most notably, I think that increases the upside for CJ McCollum as far as his assist upside, his overall on-ball handling responsibilities. You take Devontae Graham out of the equation, that's just going to make CJ handle the ball even more. But then also, you're going to be taking a much harder look to like a Jose Alvarado on this squad, because he's going to get a big bump up in minutes, and he does produce at a very high rate on a permanent basis. So 22 minutes last time out, 29 DraftKings points. That's kind of what he's capable of. But as always, keep your eyes on the starting lineups. I mean, that's the dead giveaway as to who's going to play the most notable minutes typically. And with there being no John Collins, Danilo Gallinari already looks like a good play. And then if there's no Trae Young, he just becomes an even better play. So definitely waiting on the injury news, but 30 minutes last time out with no John Collins regardless. I do think Danilo Gallinari at a 4.8 price tag does look like a pretty great play. And right now I have Trae Young projected as out, so DeLon Wright does look like as a pretty great play in my projection model. And yeah, that's pretty good breakdown of that game. Next game on the slate, we got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Sacramento Kings as far as the total in this game. This game comes in right now with a 231.5 over under. It's a 10.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. Definitely some blowout risk in this one with the Phoenix Suns having such a high spread, but it seems like lately the games that are expected to stay close don't, and the games that are expected to blow out don't. So I'm just done. I don't know, man. The NBA's been tough, but De'Aaron Fox listed as questionable in this one. Davion Mitchell and Dante DiVincenzo would obviously see additional run and more usage if he is indeed out. So certainly keep your eyes on that one. Davion Mitchell, Dante DiVincenzo will become much better plays in this spot if there is no De'Aaron Fox. Those are two guys you look to. If Fox is in, obviously that's going to take away from those guys. On the Phoenix side, there continues to be no Kaminsky, no Cam Johnson, no Chris Paul. Jay Crowder's listed as questionable, which is a pretty big piece of news. Once again, if he is indeed out, it's going to be more minutes and more usage to go around for all the starters. Cam Payne, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig's been sliding into the starting lineup, so it's really going to directly impact Torrey Craig if Jay Crowder is in or out in this one. 31 minutes and 34 minutes the last two times out has absolutely killed at his price tag. 49 and 32 DraftKings points, so at 4.6. In one of the best possible matchups you could ask for, taking on a Sacramento squad tonight that ranks really bad defensively. Looking at my half-court defensive and putbacks tool, you can see Sacramento ranks 29th overall in the points per possession rank. That's second to last in the league. 25th in offensive rebounding percentage, 20th in half-court percentage of play ranks. So Sacramento's just a really bad defense and someone that we really want to target. So if Torrey Craig is indeed in the starting lineup, he becomes really interesting. And then you're looking to load up. I mean, Devin Booker, if the game stays close, has a huge ceiling here. It's just a matter of if the game does stay close to that price tag. If you think it blows out, maybe you're getting some exposure to some cheaper guys like an 8 and a Payne, a Bridges, and hoping that they do most of the damage before the game does blow out would be the smart way to go. Because if the game does blow out, Devin Booker at 9K, he's just not going to get there. So that's going to be my strategy here. And then the Sacramento side, I do think Domantas Sabonis also, if there's no Chris Paul, just becomes a usage monster. 66.5 DraftKings points last time out with there being no De'Aaron Fox. That's not a coincidence. He's just going to be relying on him to do so much more. And then obviously Harrison Barnes as well. All these guys. Trey Lyles would become a much better play as well, even though they're not the same position, even though they're not directly correlated positionally wise, still going to get more usage, more minutes. 38 and 35 DraftKings points the last 2 times out if there is no De'Aaron Fox. Oklahoma City taking on the Orlando Magic. Next game on this slate tonight comes in with a 226 over/under, 6-point spread in favor of the Orlando Magic. Expected to stay close, expected to be decently paced. Once again, lately the games that are expected to stay close don't, but Vegas is supposed to be good at what they do, so I'm still going to rely on the Vegas data because I'm crazy, I guess. But man, it's been tough. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is listed as questionable. If he is indeed out, that is a huge piece of news. He's the biggest usage guys on the team, so other guys that slide into the starting lineup are going to become much better plays. There's already no Josh Giddey, no Lou Dort, no Kenrich Williams, no Ty Jerome. So guys that you're looking to on the Oklahoma City side, Aaron Wiggins, Pokusevski, Darius Baisley, Sarr, man off the bench, Roby. I mean, when you're breaking down this team as far as who produces at the highest rate on a permanent basis of the guys that are expected to be in, let's go ahead and pull up the Oklahoma City Thunder on my sheets just so we can get a visual. And you can see Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all out. Those are the top producers. Darius Baisley next in line, putting up 0.89 DraftKings points per minute. Pokusevski putting up 0.94 DraftKings points per minute. So those two guys are really the ones you're looking to lock in on, Baisley and Pokusevski, if there is indeed some injuries. I think that they have the highest ceilings of the bunch. 34 minutes last time out for Pokusevski. He's put up 38.75 DraftKings points. As far as Darius Baisley is concerned, 30 minutes last time out, 18.25. He had a bad game, but expect for him to bounce back. And the Orlando Magic are one of the worst teams in the league defensively. They're 22nd overall in the points per possession rank, 22nd in half-court percentage of play ranks, 21st in half-court points per play rank. So definitely a spot that I'm going to be loving targeting some Oklahoma City guys, especially if there's no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and they get a bump up in their usage. And then running it back on the other side, the Thunder are a little bit better defensively, but they're kind of middle of the pack, so they still don't really scare me, and they're just a bad team overall. So targeting some high usage Orlando guys certainly is not an issue to me tonight. Wendell Carter Jr., Cole Anthony, definitely the top two guys on the Orlando side. They always are. And then your secondary options, if you're looking to pivot off of them and maybe fade them, you'd be looking to load up on some Markelle Fultz, Franz Wagner, some of these other guys in the rotation that aren't quite as involved, but they could be involved on a random game where they just go off and they keep getting fed the ball, and then these other guys kind of suffer from it. So that's kind of the approach you have there. Mo Bamba was a much better player last night with the Wendell Carter Jr. being out. Wendell's back. So Utah taking on the New York Knicks. Next game on the slate. This one should be an ugly one from a fantasy point aspect, I would think. But 222.5 over-under is actually kind of surprisingly high to me. So maybe I'm wrong. I just know the Knicks are like dead last in pace. The Utah Jazz are one of the best teams defensively in the league. Does still come in with a 222.5 over-under, though. It's a 5-point spread in favor of the Utah. It's in the Garden. People love to have big games in the Garden, these opposing teams. So Donovan Mitchell right off the bat at 8-8 is going to stand out to me. For that reason alone, I guess, man. I know that's kind of a illogical reason that's not really backed up by statistics, but I think anyone that's a basketball fan understands. Anyone that's traveling to the Garden likes to do that. And the only other thing I would mention on Orlando, guys, I wanted to talk about was RJ Hampton if there's no Jalen Suggs. So I'm glad I just caught that, but keep your eyes on that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's going to be a spot where you're looking to target them. Rudy Gobert, for me, is going to be my favorite option, just upside at his price tag. He continues to be underpriced at 7.7, in my opinion. This is way too cheap for a guy that has 50-plus fantasy point upside. He's still in the 7K range. I don't understand it. He's put up 46 and 53 points, respectively, the last 2 times out. They continue to underprice him. I don't understand it. So I will continue to load up on Rudy Gobert on this one. He's by far my favorite option, I would say, of the bunch. And then, like I said, if there is indeed Donovan Mitchell back in the equation, which I expect it to be, he's going to be obviously taking away a lot of usage from some of these other guys. But there continues to be no Mike Conley and no Bogdanovich, which is obviously, pretty big news here. Jordan Clarkson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker can see more run. And for me, most notably, Nickeil Alexander-Walker got 33 minutes last time. That's a big deal. And Jordan Clarkson just becomes a phenomenal play now off the bench. He's going to get all the usage with the second unit. He doesn't start, which some people will worry about in NBA DFS, but that's actually better for us because that means when he's on the floor, Donovan Mitchell isn't going to be on the floor for the majority of minutes. So that means the highest usage guy on the Utah Jazz in Donovan Mitchell won't be sharing the floor with him. So that's pretty relevant, man. I mean, he's obviously a great play. Jared Butler does look pretty good at a 3.6 price tag, just from a value aspect if you want to go to him. But most notably for me, I'm really looking to load up on some Jordan Clarkson, some Nickeil Alexander-Walker, some Donovan Mitchell, and some Rudy Gobert. Those four guys look really, really good to me. And the running back on the other side with New York Knicks, it's pretty simple for me. It's RJ Barrett, it's Julius Randle. They continue to see the most minutes, the most usage. They are the leaders of this team, and they just soak up so much usage that the other guys become secondary options. Once again, they're kind of similar to the other guys we talked about on this slate where you could pivot. If you go to Alec Burks and Evan Fournier, you're pretty much hoping that one of them gets hot, they continue to feed them the ball, and they take away from the usage from these other guys. Fournier is definitely my preferred option on DraftKings. Does shoot the three ball really well, is very cheap, and he's put up 38, 31, 31 DraftKings points the last 3 times out, so he's capable of getting hot. Getting the hot hand and really putting up a big score. Boston taking on Denver. Next game on the slate comes in with a 221.5 over under. It's a 3-point spread in favor of the Boston Celtics. Decently paced game. Expect to stay close. Once again, man, I'm trying not to. It's just like you got to go by the numbers, but it's been so frustrating lately. Like all the games that I've been saying, it's expected to stay close. Like even on my Prize Picks videos, I'm just getting burnt on. So trying to just wipe my mind clear of that, but it's been tough. So Nikola Jokic in the Boston Celtics 3-point spread, and in games expected to stay close, Nikola Jokic automatically becomes a great guy to be looking to. The only problem is the Boston Celtics are one of the best teams defensively in the league, so a little bit scary to be targeting them too much. They are number 1 in the league, actually. They just surpassed Phoenix and Golden State with my latest update on my defensive half-court flex tool. So Boston, number 1 defense in the league. That is a little bit scary to be targeting him, but the game's expected to stay close, and he's the best fantasy point per minute producer in the league. Pulling up my data sheet here as far as all players, you can see he's putting up on the season 1.83 DraftKings points per minute. So just a ridiculous point per minute production, and he's always going to be someone that I'm looking to for that reason. And then on the other side, you're looking at Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. Those 4 guys really starting to become the obvious rotation players. Like we're starting to see more of a solidified rotation out of Boston. I always compare it to like the Toronto Raptors just because they're the easiest comparison because they run their stars out there for so many minutes. But I mean, we're starting to see Al Horford play in the mid-30s in close games. We're seeing Marcus Smart play in the mid-30s in close games. We're seeing Robert Williams play in the mid-30s in close games, and we're seeing the same for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So getting cute with the other guys for me is not something I'd recommend now with the way they're running at these rotations. Like Derek White out of 4.6 price tag. Last time he played 31 minutes. Why? Because they blew out Sacramento by an extreme margin. The games before that, 24, 22, 22. So I wouldn't let that, I'm not playing the secondary options on Boston. I'm looking to load up, and the same can be said for Denver, really. It's Jokic, it's Will Barton, it's Aaron Gordon, it's Monty Morris, and that's really it. The other guys, I'm not really looking to go to, so. But yeah, this game's a little bit slower paced. I don't really think it's going to be my most favored game, but San Antonio Spurs taking on the Golden State Warriors. Next game on the slate comes with a 227.5 over under. It is a 6.5 point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors. There is no Stephen Curry in this one. He's expected to be out for a extended period of time here. He's going to be out for a few weeks, which is automatically going to make us like these Golden State Warriors guys a lot more. Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole jump to the top of the list right away, and they get one of the best pace-up matchups you could ask for, taking on a San Antonio Spurs squad that ranks as one of the top league, top teams in pace in the league. Love targeting these Spurs. Jordan Poole last time 45 DraftKings points. Look to see more of that out of him. Klay Thompson's finally seeing his minutes limit uncapped. He's playing right around the 30 minutes or mid 30 minutes, which is a big deal compared to what he was playing earlier in the year, mid 20s to low 20s. So continuing to target him, Andrew Wiggins continuing to target, and then Draymond Green. Those 4 guys really going to become kind of just like the Boston Celtics guys we just talked about. But Draymond Green continues to be limited. So unless we get confirmation he's not limited, he's the one guy I'm not really looking to play too much. I want to lock in on Poole, Wiggins, Klay Thompson. And they look really good, man. I mean, Kuminga off the bench, Otto Porter off the bench as well. They're going to be high usage individuals. But these Golden State Warriors guys is really where it's at. Kuminga does look pretty decent to me at a 4.4 price tag, I will say. But these other guys, just look for their minutes, their usage, their upside to really, really expand here. And for that reason, I mean, specifically Andrew Wiggins, I think Andrew Wiggins is the biggest beneficiary of this because Wiggins is always limited by Klay Thompson when he's on the floor, but that's in large part due to Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry being on the floor because it's kind of 1, 2, 3. Now, with Wiggins being in the equation and Jordan Poole, it's going to be 1-2-3 once again, but he's going to be much more of a, it's going to be much of an easier breakthrough to get that number 2 or number 1 role on a game where he's rolling compared to when Stephen Curry's on the floor. I can tell you that much. So, like Andrew Wiggins a lot. Running it back on the other side, DeJounte Murray's the obvious candidate. I mean, he's always going to play the minutes. He's always going to get the usage. He's the one guy that I trust in Popovich's rotation to always play. Some of the other guys, they do have a little bit more risk associated with them, but they do have high upside, like a Keldon Johnson, like a Devin Vassell. Just keep in mind, we're dealing with Greg Popovich. He's going to go with a hot hand if something happens. Right now, Lonnie Walker is hurt, so I do think that's going to help solidify these guys' minutes a little bit more than what we've seen in the past, I will say. So I do think we can be a little bit more confident in Josh Richardson, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, whoever gets to start, Josh Primo, actually getting some solidified minutes as long as Lonnie Walker's out. So that is actually kind of a big deal, I will say. That actually is kind of a big deal. It might be a little bit easier to be relying on these Spurs guys than what it has been for a little bit of stretch here. Toronto taking on Philly. Last game on the slate as far as the total in this game comes with a 223.5 over under. It's a 5.5 point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. Expect to stay close. The biggest piece of news we have in this one is Joel Embiid being listed as questionable if he is indeed out. James Harden becomes one of the best plays on the slate. He's going to get a big bump up in usage, and then whoever's going to climb back into the Philadelphia starting lineup would become a much better play as well. We'd have to kind of get confirmation on that. Whoever it's going to be, probably DeAndre Jordan, I would assume they would just roll out there, and DeAndre Jordan would become one of the top value plays on the slate tonight. So, but do we have confirmation on that? No, we need confirmation. But James Harden would automatically jump to the top of the list, and then you'd be looking at Tobias Harris a lot as well, and Tyrese Maxey. I mean, those the big three there, so to speak, would become really great plays. With there being no Joel Embiid. Big bump in usage, lots of minutes. And then Toronto, we've been talking about them throughout the video because they have a solidified rotation. Siakam, Barnes, Van Vliet. You're looking to play these guys. You're just not looking to be negatively correlated. So if you do have, 1 or 2 of these guys, you can't really have the third. Van Vliet, Barnes, Siakam, Gary Trent. You're looking to play 1, 2, or 3 of those guys. I would say 2 maximum typically, especially on a slate this size. If it was a smaller slate, then I would probably be looking to maybe play 3. But we have 7 games. I would say 2 guys maximum can really reach their ceiling to where it's going to be enough to win you at a tournament. So that's where I would limit it to. That's my overall breakdown of this slate today, guys. Before I let you guys go, we got to talk about FanDuel, and then we'll get into my lock of the night. We're obviously waiting on a lot of injury news, as we just discussed, but I can go over kind of what I'm looking at right now in my projections. If there is indeed no De'Aaron Fox, Dante DiVincenzo becomes a great play once again. We already talked about that at a 4-5 price tag. Does look really good, so he would become, a top play. Jordan Clarkson at 5.2, with there being no Mike Conley, looks like a really great play over here on FanDuel. We already talked about him on DraftKings, but FanDuel 5.2 is really, really affordable. He's put up 39, 36 FanDuel points the last 2 times out, so I really like him. Tobias Harris at 5.6, especially if there's no Joel Embiid, another guy that's just priced really, really cheap that I'm going to continue to want to play on FanDuel. Just really cheap, man. I know the production really hasn't been quite as high with Embiid and Harden being in the equation, but once again, if you take Embiid off the floor, he's going to look a lot better. Same can be said for Tyrese Maxey, who's seen his price tag dip down to 5.3 over here on FanDuel. So a lot of what we just discussed over there on DraftKings, but some of these guys' price tags are just even more friendly on FanDuel for me. Just looks really, really good. Davion Mitchell at 4.3 on FanDuel. Klay Thompson at 6.8. Some of these San Antonio Spurs guys, like I said, these Golden State Warriors guys against the San Antonio Spurs, they're going to get a big bump up here. So Andrew Wiggins at 6.8, Klay Thompson at 6.8, Jordan Poole at 7.6 all look like good plays. Draymond Green, as long as he continues to be limited, like I said, he's going to be the one that I'm not looking to. But, a lot of it we already went over. Donovan Mitchell at 8.5 looks really good on FanDuel. It's just kind of a ridiculous price tag. Van Vliet at 7.3, Marcus Smart at 6.2, Cole Anthony at 5.9. FanDuel there's just so many good plays, man. They just underprice these guys, so makes it kind of easy on you. Devin Booker at 9.6 has a lot of upside if that game stays close. Jaylen Brown at 7.4, that's really cheap, man, for a guy that has the amount of upside that Jaylen Brown has. They just make it kind of easy on you. And then Robert Williams at 6'2", continues to be a guy that's, a legitimate center at 6'2", that has power forward and center eligibility over here on FanDuel. Domantas Sabonis at 8'4", if there's no De'Aaron Fox especially. Once again, power forward, center eligibility. So a lot of this we already talked about. Wendell Carter 6'9", but just want to review it real quick. Al Horford at 5'8" is really cheap, so. Yeah, man, that is my overall breakdown. Rudy Gobert 7.9. Once again, very cheap on this website. Rudy Gobert is just really standing out to me as well on both. So that is my overall breakdown for this 7-game slate. If you enjoyed, it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell before I get you guys my lock of the night. And don't forget to sign up for Prize Picks. Use that promo code KJK DFS to receive an instant max deposit up to $100 when you deposit today. Again, that is code KJK DFS. If you want to check out the premium content packages, check them out over here. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS. I got the MLB DFS Masterclass, the NBA packages, MLB coming up around the corner. Check it all out, guys. And without further ado, before I let you guys go, I've got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Andrew Wiggins, taking on this San Antonio Spurs squad with no more Stephen Curry in the equation. I think that greatly benefits him in a fast, up-tempo game environment here. Gets a great pace-up spot, taking on a San Antonio Spurs squad. 6.5-point spread with a 227.5 over-under here. They rank 27th in the league against his position. 7-2 on DraftKings as far as FanDuel is concerned. 6-8. I think we see this price tag continue to go up. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Andrew Wiggins, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. Wishing you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.